We do the chanting straight away and then some meditation. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato ArahatoSammaSambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddham saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchami, Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchami. Just make sure also you have speaker view on. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dharmaya, Namo Sanghaya. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. I take refuge until I am enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. Through the positive potential I create by practicing the 6 paramitas, may I soon attain enlightenment in order to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and its causes. May they be free from suffering and its causes. May they never be parted from their happiness beyond suffering. May they abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment to the near, and aversion from the far. I shall cause this great compassionate Buddha, please inspire me to be able to do so. Reverently, I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and present clouds of every type of offerings, actual and mentally transformed. I confess all of my negative actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in all the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cyclic existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate the virtues of myself and others to the great enlightenment. However innumerable all sentient beings are, I vow to save them all. However inexhaustible my delusions are, I vow to extinguish them all. However immeasurable the Dharma teachings are, I vow to master them all. However endless the Buddha's way is, I vow to follow it completely. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Rayata gate gate parasamgate bodhi soha. Tayata gate gate parasamgate bodhi soha. Tayata gate gate parasamgate bodhi soha. So as we practice the Dharma, we're working to purify our minds of the 6 root delusions, which spring from the 3 poisons, and which spring, or the second 2 of the poisons spring from the first one, which is ignorance. So we're working to attain the supreme wisdom, to realize the supreme wisdom, which totally uproots ignorance. And therefore, all of the other mental afflictions that come from that will also be uprooted. So we should turn our mind to the Dharma path and towards enlightenment. In other words, renounce the worldly ways and dedicate your existence, you could say, your life to practice of the Dharma and to realizing your true potential, realizing the ultimate truth, realizing your true, compassionate, wise, enlightened nature. Work to accumulate vast amounts, oceans of merit, and develop the Bodhicitta, the relative Bodhicitta, both the aspirational and the practical. And then start to prepare your mind to understand the nature of reality. And once you understand this nature of reality, like get a glimpse of it, then you need to absorb your mind with it until eventually we realize our true enlightened nature. I basically just gave a very, you could say cryptic in a sense, explanation of those two mantras that we just chanted. Okay, so now let's meditate. We'll start off by releasing the tension from the body. And I thought today, I won't take extra time, but I will actually speak more detail about this because one of you have requested it a few times. And this is for the rest of you, just a reminder, just in case you're missing some aspects, some points. And so now close your eyes gently, your lips touching gently. Bring your focus initially to your body, the bottom part of your body, to release whatever tension that you may have in the body. So release the tension from your feet, toes, the balls of the feet, the arches, the heels, top of your feet, around your ankles and Achilles, your lower leg, the calf muscles and shins, and all around your knees, and your upper leg, quad muscles at the front, the hamstrings at the back. And around your midsection, around your hips and hip flexors, groin and the glutes. And now your upper body, starting at your lower back, on and above your hips and your lower stomach. Further up your stomach and sides, into the center of your back. From your chest, underneath your arms and the upper back, rhomboid muscles, lateral muscles, the upper trap muscles that run between the neck and the shoulders, and your shoulders, upper arms around your elbows, forearms, wrists, hands, fingers, and thumbs. Now bring your mind and focus on around your neck area and release whatever tension you can from there. In the back of your head and sides of your head, from all around your face. Make sure you're not clenching your jaw or frowning. And finally, from the crown of your head. And now very briefly scan all of your body just to see if there's any more tension you can release. And now bring your focus initially to the tip of your nose. And the object of the meditation is the breath. Breathing in all the way into your lungs and then breathing out through your nose. The air is quite cool as it comes in to your body, and as you breathe out, it's quite warm as it passes your throat. That's all we have to do right now, is focus on the breath, the object of the meditation. The breath, when we focus on the breath, we are focusing on the most important physical thing that we do. Without breathing, there is no life. Also, focusing on the breath tends to bring the mind inside. If thoughts appear or arise, don't grasp at them, don't cling to them. Also, don't try to forcefully push them away either, or deny them. And it is likewise with any other mental activities, such as our feelings and emotions, attitudes. Don't cling to them, don't grasp at them, don't forcefully push them away, and don't deny them. Let them come and go naturally by refocusing on your breath. Don't be too hard on yourself, don't be too soft. Don't be too rigid in the practice, but also don't be lazy. And if your mind at some stage starts to become dull, then focus on the breath more brightly. Refocusing on the breath, whether your mind is overly busy and agitated or whether it is dull, focusing or refocusing is the antidote that helps you to bring your mind back onto the object. So now we can practice like this in silence for a few minutes. So now you can feel very pleased with yourself and fill yourself with friendship and loving kindness. Really appreciate yourself and respect yourself. May I be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May I be happy and have the causes of happiness. May I be at peace. So fill yourself with so much loving kindness that now it overflows and radiates outwards, initially to your loved ones, family, and friends. May they also be happy, free from suffering, and be at peace. You can do this just with the feeling, which is of most importance, but also you can utilize white light or nectar coming from your heart center. Your body is full of this light or nectar, and then from your heart center, it radiates outwards, like I said, initially to your loved ones, and fills them also with the white light or nectar. Now radiate out further now to include the strangers, those beings or those people that you may know a little bit, like maybe see them for your daily walk or see them at the shops or something like that. And also include the people that you don't know at all. Further and further now to also include those you find difficult, may even regard as enemies. May all of these people be happy, free from suffering, and be peaceful. Now your loving kindness is gathering more and more momentum as you now radiate it also to those living beings that are in your immediate vicinity. Those living beings that live on the land, even under the land, or on the waters or in the waters, fly through the air. The ones born from wombs, from eggs, from moisture, and through transformation. May all of these living beings be free from suffering, be happy, and be peaceful. And now further and further to include all the living beings within your state or county. And other states and counties throughout your whole country. And other countries throughout the whole world. Initially those ones you're familiar with and have some sort of attraction towards, maybe lived there, maybe come from there originally. As well as those that you may know about just a little bit, maybe haven't been there, but maybe you know about them through the media and so forth. And then also those countries that you don't know at all throughout the world, and maybe even have some sort of aversion towards for whatever reason. Until your loving kindness pervades the whole planet. May all of the living beings throughout the planet be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they experience happiness and the causes of happiness. And may they be peaceful, free from agitation and conflict. Now further and further radiate your loving kindness throughout other planets, throughout the whole solar system. And throughout other solar systems, throughout the galaxy that we call the Milky Way. And other galaxies throughout the whole universe. Keep going and until your loving kindness pervades throughout infinite space, infinite loving kindness, immeasurable. Immeasurable because it can be developed beyond limit, beyond measure, as well as benefiting innumerable living beings. And at the same time, be present here and now, and we will recite the dedication prayer. Due to this merit, may I soon attain the enlightened state of the Buddha, so that I may be able to liberate all sentient beings from their suffering. May the precious bodhicitta not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. And may the precious view of shunyata not yet born arise and grow. May that born have no decline but increase forevermore. So I decided today, actually only about 15 minutes before the class, just to do a little bit more refresher course for the meditation, just to remind all of you of some details that you may be bypassing in your practice. But also, like I mentioned, one of you has requested on numerous occasions that we do more details. So I thought we'd do them today. And then next week we go back to longer Dharma talk, because now I looked at actually done a little bit more longer than I thought. So the Dharma talk today is about 14 or 15 minutes long, and that's okay. As we know, we are experiencing all around the world a global pandemic, and I thought as well that we do some more detail and slightly longer love and kindness meditation today, because I think we need it. I think a lot of people getting very frustrated with each other, becoming irritated, becoming, not us probably. I can see one of you shaking your head, that's good. So I think loving kindness meditation, is, as well as other meditations, is really helpful to calm the mind down, help us to think of the good qualities of others, help us to understand that all living beings are going through sufferings and are imperfect right now. So we're all the same that way. We're all like relatives. And maybe we extend the loving kindness. This can really soften our hearts and help to soften the hearts of other living beings as well. Through our positive energy, you could say, but also the way we will act ourselves if our mind is full of loving kindness. Okay, so there's that part. Now we will continue the discussion on the 6 paramitas. And if you remember, we're talking about the 18 aspects, so 3 aspects for each one, plus you can include extra ones for that too. We've already gone through the generosity part and the morality part. Of course, I will remind you that we will go through these in much more detail in the classes to come. Okay, so we're just going to talk about these, an overview of these 18 different aspects right now. So we got on to the first one of the patience, the third of the paramitas. And that, of course, is being patient when we're being harmed. And I said that I would give you some examples of this. I mentioned Aikido or martial arts generally. If somebody throws a punch at you, you don't stay there in the way. And you get out of the way. So if there's some harmful behavior coming towards you, whether it be physical or verbal or whatever, you don't stand in the way. It's in a sense, it's almost like pitting on the negativity of the other person or the other people, because you really do wish, with the spirit of love and kindness and compassion, you wish that they are free from these negativities for their own benefit and for the benefit of all those around them, including you at that time. So you get out of the way. And then in martial arts, like I said, if you redirect, like you block and then you redirect, and then the person ends up over there on a wall or something or other. And of course, you don't want to hurt anybody, but that's their own energy, isn't it? That's their own force that you're just redirecting. And so just get out of the way of any negativities coming towards you. Of course, if you can improve the situation, remove yourself from it or improve the situation if you're still there, if you can't move away. You do this with your mind, because actually it's our own mind that is reacting to it. And so therefore, with our own mind, we can lessen at the reactions that we have towards negativity, can nip the negativity in the bud. Okay, so the other examples was the Buddha, when giving a gift, he doesn't have to accept the gift, right? Somebody would give the Buddha something that may be harmful, or us. I'll use the example just of us. Somebody gives you something that is harmful or not helpful. You don't have to accept it. You may feel the pressure you need to accept it, but you actually don't have to accept it. I remember years ago to thank me for doing something, for talking with a young man and helping him, get over some negativities. His mother and he gave me some gifts, gave me a meat tray. Now I haven't eaten meat since, the best part of 40 years. So, obviously it wasn't helpful. And where I was staying at the time, the freezer of this very small fridge that I had wasn't working. So I couldn't even freeze it to give it to somebody else, for instance. So I said to them, thank you very much. I appreciate your gratitude, show of gratitude, but you should eat it yourself now because I don't eat it. I don't have the facilities to keep it for a while. And so, I was very grateful to them for doing that. And, because I didn't say to them, no, I don't want it, they felt very comfortable with that as well. Okay, so even some things that come from the gratitude of others, and they're giving it to you with good intention, you still don't have to accept it. And so how much more so negative things? If somebody gave, like I mentioned last week, if somebody gave you a bomb, would you take it? No, you run away very quickly. So anyway, unless of course you knew that it had a little bit longer to go and you could throw it into the ocean yourself or something like that. In other words, you can take this and try to improve the situation. The Buddha was, like I mentioned, one time he was meditating and somebody, I think it was a leader of another philosophical or religious tradition, and came and started swearing at him and everything. And the Buddha just simply said to him, you abusing me like this is like you're trying to spit on the sky. If we try to spit on the sky, like I mentioned, it just comes back on our face. So we actually don't have to accept these negativities, okay? And we be patient in our own mind. Remember, patience is, the mind remains very strong and stable, very flexible, able to deal with different circumstances, good ones, bad ones, indifferent ones. And also that we can be very humble, because a lot of the time if we fight back with something, even if we're being harmed, it's because of our ego. It's because we're not being humble at that time. We're not basing our reactions or our actions on understanding and goodwill and so forth. Okay, it's just reactive. Then the next one is being patient when experiencing difficulties, especially on the Dharma path. Now we, as I mentioned many times, on the Dharma path, we are purifying the negative karmas. So we're going to experience your karma. The karma will ripen, but if we start to purify these, start to counteract these negative karmas, they will ripen much smaller than if we didn't do that, where they're reinforced and eventually, like a plant, the seed of the plant is very small, goes into the ground, and then the plant's much bigger than the seed. In other words, the results can be much bigger than even the action if it's reinforced, if we don't do something about it, if we don't purify. And so we're going to experience some difficulties on the Dharma path. We're going to experience the obstacles, we call them, on the Dharma path. And we have to be patient with that. Don't react against it. Otherwise, we're going to cause similar things again, over and over and over. And of course, in life, we experience obstacles too. Even in our everyday activities, you may, I'm trying to think of an example, but maybe you go for a walk and, there's too many people out there in the park during the pandemic not wearing masks. To bring that into the time of now. And then that's obstacles. So maybe you don't walk in that park. Maybe you find another place to go walk. And myself, I share with you on the beach, there's our actual home beach. There's been different times throughout this pandemic. There's been too many people, gathering. And so I go to a different beach, walk the other way. And it takes a little bit longer, but that's fine. Good exercise. So we have obstacles in our everyday life. We need to react or not react to them in a negative way, I should say. Okay, find another way, find a way around it. Remember that, for instance, water in a river coming down the mountainside. Let's say trees fall in there. Let's say boulders fall or roll in there as well, and they block the water. But the water will find a way around it. So we need to find ways around things, Don't expect to immediately destroy or get around the obstacles. You may do that. The obstacles may be very small. You may have the strong positive karmic imprints that allows you to overcome these obstacles very quickly. But some other ones maybe not. Maybe it takes a little bit longer, a little bit more effort to overcome them. Okay. So I think that'll do for that, because like I said, I'll go into more detail when we are speaking about each specific aspect of the 6 parameters. Then, of course, we have the patient with the nature of reality, which also could be known as patience with yourself, in a sense, because you don't know everything yet. You don't know the nature of reality yet. And so, if somebody, for instance, if you're having some difficulties, some obstacles on the path, and then somebody says to you, but there's no you, there's no self, your enlightened nature actually is already pure, but you don't realize it yet. We could get upset at that, couldn't we? That's not being patient with the nature of reality or being patient with ourselves. I won't go into any more detail than that, okay? But they're the 3 types of patience. Then there are 3 types of diligence, you could say. And the first one is known as armor-like, like a knight with armor on. And so this is, not to be, it's like armor-like because we're not going to be discouraged. So it's the diligence that helps us not to be discouraged on the Dharma path. Because we can bring to our mind that we have this precious human life. We have this great opportunity. It's very rare to be born as a human being with the abilities and mental capacity to be able to practice the Dharma. Some other realms of existence, the lower realms, they're experiencing suffering every moment just about. So how can they practice Dharma? Even the heavenly beings, they're experiencing too much pleasure. How can they practice the Dharma? There's 2 extremes, I'm not saying they can't, but difficult. As humans, we get to experience great pleasure sometimes, but also great suffering sometimes, and all of the different variances of this or these. So as a human being, it's very precious. We have a lot of freedom to practice in most, human beings, especially like us right now. Think about it. We have a computer here. Even though we're in a pandemic, we have the opportunity to talk about the Dharma, to practice together. However short the sessions are, we still have this great opportunity in this precious human life. But also we can bring to mind that all things are impermanent. So this human life doesn't last. So we should practice now And so we have this diligence, this armor-like diligence to not be discouraged, or if we start to be discouraged, then we contemplate this precious human life and the impermanent nature of this precious human life. And then, of course, we can contemplate the law of karma, cause and effect, and also the unsatisfactory nature of cyclic existence, which will help us to, really focus, stay on the path. Then, of course, we have, you could say there's the intelligence level, utilizing our intelligence with the practice of diligence or great effort. But there's also then the extraordinary. We go beyond that, where there's no effort really needed at all. Right action, it helps us to practice right actions, not just physical actions now, but actions of the mind and verbal actions in the right direction towards enlightenment. To maintain the bodhicitta intention, the altruistic intention that we need to develop this great compassion that we need to unify with the supreme wisdom to be able to attain enlightenment. And then, of course, we need to maintain some level of enthusiasm and not satisfied. We're not satisfied simply just doing good. Not satisfied just abstaining from evil actions or bad actions, but actually still working towards the goal. Not satisfied, for instance, if you develop immense or really deep levels of concentration, because you're not there yet. So we still have this enthusiasm. We have this ability to not be overcome by being disheartened and things like that. So I know that we're under a minute, maybe 20 or 30 seconds to go. So hopefully you enjoyed today's class. We will finish the last two of these next week and then move on to the next part of our studies on the 6 parameters. I rejoice in your merits, in your goodness. Practice well, best of your ability.